The mysterious signal appeared on the monitors at NASA's Deep Space Tracking Station just after midnight. At first, the duty officer thought it was a glitch, but the pattern repeated every 73 seconds with perfect precision. By morning, the entire facility was buzzing with activity. Alan Murphy had been analyzing deep space signals for 15 years. He'd seen cosmic background radiation, pulsar emissions, and the random noise of distant stars. This was different. As he studied the waveform on his screen, he felt the hair on his arms stand up. "There's a mathematical sequence embedded in this," he said to no one in particular. The room around him fell silent. The signal originated from somewhere in the Kuiper Belt, that distant region of ice and rock beyond Neptune's orbit. Nothing human-made had ever ventured that far, except for a few space probes that had long gone silent. Dr. Lisa Nguyen arrived at the facility 12 hours after the discovery. As the world's foremost expert in theoretical xenolinguistics, she'd spent her career preparing for a moment that most of her colleagues had dismissed as fantasy. "Play it again," she instructed, closing her eyes to focus on the audio conversion of the signal. The sound filled the room, a series of tones rising and falling in what seemed like random patterns to everyone else. "It's a distress call," she said finally, opening her eyes. "There's no mistaking it." Within 24 hours, representatives from every major world government had assembled in a hastily arranged video conference. The debate was heated. Some argued for caution, fearing an alien trap. Others pushed for immediate response, seeing this as humanity's first chance at extraterrestrial contact. "We can't just ignore them," said the NASA director. "If they're in trouble and we have any chance of helping, we have a moral obligation to try." Meanwhile, Dr. Nguyen and her team worked tirelessly on a more complete translation. The signal contained more than just a call for help. It carried technical data as well. "They're experiencing catastrophic system failures," she explained to the emergency committee. "Life support, propulsion, power generation. Everything is failing simultaneously. And if our calculations are correct, they don't have much time left." Scientists and linguists from around the world joined the effort. They discovered the signal contained engineering schematics and biological information, as if the senders were providing everything humans might need to help them. Alan Murphy hadn't slept in 3 days. His desk was littered with empty coffee cups as he refined the signal's origin coordinates. "There's something else," he said suddenly, calling Dr. Nguyen over to his station. "The signal's changing." The steady pattern had shifted, becoming more urgent. New mathematical sequences appeared, and the time between repetitions shortened. "They're getting desperate," Dr. Nguyen whispered. The United Nations Security Council voted unanimously to respond. A carefully crafted message was prepared, using the same mathematical language found in the alien transmission. It was simple. "We hear you. We are coming." Captain Olivia Bennett was pulled from commanding a deep space exploration mission and reassigned to lead the rescue effort. As the most experienced space commander with 3 successful asteroid mining expeditions under her belt, she was the natural choice. "We're sending the U.S. Horizon," the NASA director informed the International Committee. "It's our newest vessel with the most advanced propulsion system. But even with their best technology, the journey would take months. Time the aliens might not have." Then Sam Jackson, a brilliant but eccentric engineer from MIT, proposed a radical modification to the Horizon's engines. "It's never been tested at full scale," he admitted, "but my calculations show it could reduce the transit time by 60%. It was a risk, but there was no alternative. As preparations for the mission accelerated, the alien signal grew weaker but continued its persistent call. Someone was out there, stranded in the cold reaches of our solar system, and humanity had chosen to answer. 3 weeks after Earth sent its response, Captain Olivia Bennett stood on the bridge of the U.S. Horizon as Sam Jackson's modified engines hummed with power. The experimental propulsion system had performed beyond expectations, pushing the ship toward the Kuiper Belt at speeds no human vessel had ever achieved. "Status report. Olivia called to her navigation officer. "We're approaching the signal coordinates, Captain. ETA 19 minutes." The crew of 48 specialized scientists, engineers, and military personnel had trained intensively for this mission, but nothing could truly prepare them for what lay ahead. Each person had been selected for their problem-solving abilities and emotional stability. They would need both. Dr. Lisa Nguyen had joined the mission, bringing her translation algorithms and years of theoretical work on alien communication. She stood beside Olivia now, her eyes fixed on the view screen. "I never thought I'd actually meet them," she whispered. The first visual contact came as a shock to everyone. Not a single ship, but an enormous fleet of vessels drifted silently against the backdrop of distant stars. There were at least 30 ships of varying sizes, arranged in a defensive formation that had clearly broken down over time. Several appeared damaged, with visible breaches in their hulls. "My God," Olivia breathed. "There must be thousands of them." The aliens had been monitoring Earth's approach. A new signal reached the horizon, this one containing visual data. The screen filled with the image of what appeared to be the alien command center. The Valhari were not what anyone had expected. Their bodies seemed fluid, with translucent blue-green skin that rippled like water. They had no visible eyes, but sensory organs ringed what might be called their heads. They moved with surprising grace in what appeared to be water-filled environments within their ships. Communication began slowly. The Valhari used a combination of color changes across their skin and mathematical symbols displayed on screens. Dr. Nguyen's translation software struggled to keep up, but basic concepts came through. "They're saying their main power systems are failing," she translated. "Something about exotic matter destabilization." Sam Jackson studied the engineering diagrams the aliens shared. "Their technology is unlike anything we've seen. They're using principles we've only theorized about." The Horizon moved alongside the largest alien vessel, which the Valhari identified as their command ship. Docking proved challenging, as the systems were incompatible. Human engineers worked frantically to create an adapter that would form an airtight seal between the ships. When the connection was finally secure, a team led by Olivia prepared to board. They wore specially designed suits that would protect them from whatever atmosphere existed on the alien ship. "We don't know what we're walking into," she reminded her team. "Follow protocols and stay alert." The airlock cycled, and they stepped into a corridor unlike anything human architecture had produced. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with bioluminescent light. The gravity was lighter than Earth's, and the air, though breathable with their equipment, carried strange scents. Their Valhari guides waited at the end of the corridor. In person, the aliens were larger than they appeared on screen, standing nearly 7 feet tall. Communication remained difficult, with the translation software struggling to keep pace with the aliens' rapid color changes. One thing became immediately clear: the situation was worse than initially believed. The Valhari led them to their engine room, where engineers were frantically working to contain what appeared to be radiation leaks. "Their systems are failing faster than they can repair them," Sam observed, "and they don't seem to have the right tools to fix the physical damage." As the humans watched the aliens work, they noticed something surprising. The Valhari used mental interfaces to control their technology. When physical repairs were needed, they seemed hesitant, almost inexperienced with manual labor. "I think I understand the problem," Sam said suddenly. "They've evolved beyond physical tools. They need our help not just because we responded, but because we still know how to use our hands." Sam Jackson moved closer to examine the alien technology that powered the Valhari fleet. The central power core pulsed with a strange purple light that seemed to bend the space around it. Unlike human engines with their mechanical parts, this system appeared almost organic, with flowing channels of energy rather than wires and circuits. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Maria Collins, the Horizon's chief engineer, studied the diagnostic screens the Valhari had set up to monitor their failing systems. Though the symbols were alien, the patterns of instability were clear enough. They're using exotic matter as a power source, she explained to Captain Bennett. But something's causing it to destabilize. The containment fields are failing. Through the translation system, the Valhari chief scientist, a being they now knew as Elkin, attempted to explain their dilemma. His skin rippled with patterns of blue and green as he communicated. Our ancestors built these vessels 5 generations ago. The translation came through. Each generation has added improvements through mental interfaces, but the physical maintenance knowledge was not prioritized. Maria examined the tools the Valhari used. They were elegant, clearly designed for beings with different appendages than human hands, but surprisingly delicate. There were no heavy wrenches, no welding equipment, nothing designed for major structural repairs. They've evolved beyond physical labor, she said with sudden understanding. When something breaks, they replace it with fabricated parts rather than fixing it. The Valhari watched with fascination as the human engineers unpacked their toolkits. Simple hammers, wrenches, and manual cutting tools seemed primitive to the aliens, who had long ago developed technology that responded to thought alone. When Sam used a mechanical pump to drain coolant from a damaged section, the Valhari gathered around in amazement. Their own solution would have involved complex fabrication of a new component, taking precious time they didn't have. Sometimes the old ways work best, Sam grinned, tightening a valve with a wrench. Captain Bennett contacted Earth with their findings. We need more people with mechanical skills. Electricians, plumbers, construction workers, people who know how to fix things with their hands. The Valhari scientists were initially skeptical. One named Terrace, whose skin patterns indicated a high rank among their engineers, seemed particularly doubtful about human methods. Your species still relies on physical manipulation rather than mental direction. The translation came through with what seemed like disbelief. Maria demonstrated how to bypass a damaged section of circuitry using simple copper wire. Sometimes you need to think outside the box, she explained. The translator struggled with the idiom, but the concept became clear when the section began functioning again. As days passed, more human ships arrived bringing additional personnel and equipment. The cultural exchange deepened as humans taught Valhari basic repair techniques their species had forgotten generations ago, while the aliens shared theoretical knowledge that expanded human understanding of physics. In the dining area, engineer Rick Bailey showed a group of Valhari how to use basic hand tools. Their appendages, more like flexible tentacles than human fingers, struggled with the unfamiliar motions. It's like teaching children, Rick remarked to a colleague. They've never had to do anything this manual. A young Valhari named Melith proved particularly adept at learning human techniques. Her skin flashed with patterns that the translator interpreted as excitement as she successfully repaired a damaged cooling pipe. Our ancestors knew these skills, she told Maria, but we believed we had evolved beyond needing them. We were wrong. The real breakthrough came when Dr. Nguyen discovered that the Valhari mental interfaces could be partially adapted to work with human digital systems. This hybrid approach allowed for faster communication and coordination between the species. As the humans worked alongside their new alien allies, Maria realized something important. They have amazing theoretical knowledge, but we have practical experience. Together, we might actually pull this off. But time was running short. The main life support systems on 3 of the largest vessels were showing critical failures. And unknown to most of the rescue team, the Valhari harbored a secret about why they had fled their home system in the first place, a threat that might soon reach Earth as well. Commander Eric Petal studied the holographic display of the Valhari fleet with growing concern. The life support systems in the 3 largest vessels were flashing red in the simulation. Toxic radiation from the failing power cores had already made several sections uninhabitable. We have less than 48 hours before these ships become completely unlivable, he announced to the gathered team of human and Valhari engineers. The alien ship's design presented unique challenges. Their hulls were composed of a material that self-healed minor damage but couldn't cope with the current level of deterioration. The radiation leaks had compromised this feature, leaving gaping wounds in the ship's structures. "We need to perform emergency spacewalks to repair the outer containment fields," Eric proposed. "It's the only way to stop the radiation from spreading further." The Valhari had no concept of spacewalks. Their species had evolved in water environments and found the idea of floating in the vacuum of space terrifying. When humans explained the process, their skin turned pale gray, a sign of extreme distress. "Your bodies would be exposed to the void," asked Melith, the young Valhari who had shown aptitude for human techniques. "How can you survive such conditions?" Sam Jackson showed them the EVA suits. "We've been doing this for over a century. These suits protect us from radiation, extreme temperatures, and maintain our atmosphere." Captain Bennett assembled a team of the best spacewalkers from all the human vessels. The mission was dangerous even by human standards. The radiation levels near the breaches were nearly fatal, giving each repair team only 20 minutes of safe exposure time. As the humans prepared for their mission, Dr. Lisa Nguyen made a disturbing discovery while reviewing the Valhari historical archives. "Captain, we need to talk," she said, pulling Olivia aside. "The Valhari aren't just a stranded expedition. They're refugees." Lisa showed Olivia the translated records. The Valhari had fled their home system after an attack by a species they called the Dravak, a militaristic race that expanded through conquest. Their fleet represented the last survivors of their civilization. "They didn't tell us because they feared we might abandon them if we knew there was a threat following them," Lisa explained. Outside the ships, the spacewalk teams fought against time. The work was grueling and precise, welding patches over breaches, installing radiation shields, and bypassing damaged systems. Each team had to retreat after their exposure limit, replaced by fresh workers in a carefully choreographed rotation. Inside, humans taught Valhari the basics of manual repairs. These aquatic aliens, who had spent generations relying on mental interfaces and automation, struggled with physical tools but learned quickly out of necessity. "Hold it like this," Rick Bailey demonstrated to a group of Valhari engineers, showing them how to use a plasma cutter on damaged components. "You need to feel the resistance in the material." The Valhari scientist Elkin worked closely with Maria Collins on bypassing the failing life support processors. "Your species adapts so quickly to changing conditions," he noted, skin pulsing with patterns of admiration. "We designed our systems to be perfect and never change, but nothing is truly perfect." After 30 hours of continuous work, the crisis point arrived. The main cooling system in the largest vessel failed completely. Alarms blared throughout the ship as temperatures in the reactor room rose to dangerous levels. "We need to manually vent the system," Sam shouted over the noise. "But the controls are in a section that's already flooded with radiation." Commander Eric made a split-second decision. "I'll go. My suit has the highest radiation rating." Despite protests, he entered the contaminated area. The others watched through camera feeds as Eric navigated the failing systems, manually operating controls that hadn't been touched in generations. The Valhari designed these ships to never need human intervention, Maria explained to Captain Bennett. They never planned for catastrophic failure. As Eric completed the emergency venting procedure, stabilizing the core temperature, the monitoring systems throughout the fleet began showing improvement. The immediate crisis had been averted, but at significant cost to Eric, who had exceeded safe radiation exposure limits. As medics treated him in the human vessel, a delegation of Valhari arrived to express their gratitude. Their skin displayed patterns never before recorded in the translation database, patterns the system eventually interpreted as profound respect and debt. "Your people risked their lives for strangers," Elkin said. "This concept was forgotten among our kind. We have much to relearn." Science officer Kate Wilson had been quietly working on a theory since their arrival at the Valhari fleet. While the engineers focused on physical repairs, she had been studying the alien computer systems. The Valhari operated their technology through mental interfaces that seemed impossibly advanced. Yet Kate noticed something fascinating in their base code. There are patterns here that resemble binary, she told Sam Jackson during a rare break. Different symbols, but similar logic structures. Kate had brought several standard human laptops and tablets, technology the Valhari initially dismissed as primitive. Working through the night, she established a rudimentary connection between a human computer and one of the alien diagnostic terminals. I think I can create a translation layer between our systems, she explained to Captain Bennett the next morning. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, but excitement made her voice steady. If it works, we might be able to use our computers to help manage their failing systems. The Valhari scientists were skeptical. To them, human computers seemed like ancient relics, clunky devices requiring physical input rather than thought direction. But as life support continued to fail across the fleet, they had little choice but to try Kate's solution. In the command center of the Valhari flagship, Kate connected her modified interface to the ship's main computer. For several tense minutes, nothing happened. Then lines of alien symbols began appearing on her laptop screen, automatically converting to human-readable code. "It's working," she exclaimed. "Their systems are complex, but the underlying logic is universal. Mathematics truly is the language of the universe." With this breakthrough, human computers could now directly monitor and help regulate the failing Valhari systems. It wasn't a permanent solution, but it bought them precious time. Maria Collins saw an opportunity in this hybrid approach. If we can communicate with their systems, maybe we can create a bridge between our power generation methods and theirs. The Valhari used exotic matter manipulation for energy, a technology centuries beyond human capability. But their systems had become so specialized that they couldn't adapt to failures or implement simple workarounds. "Your species has remarkable theoretical knowledge," Maria told Elkin, "but sometimes the simplest solutions work best in an emergency." Working together, human and Valhari engineers developed a hybrid power system. The humans contributed robust, mechanical backup systems, while the aliens provided the theoretical framework to make them compatible with their advanced technology. After days of non-stop work, they were ready to test their solution on one of the smaller Valhari vessels. Engineers from both species gathered in the engine room, watching anxiously as the systems were brought online. The lights flickered momentarily, then stabilized. The ship's diagnostics showed power flowing through the hybrid system, not as efficiently as the original design, but enough to sustain life support and essential functions. Cheers erupted from the human team. The Valhari's skin rippled with patterns of blue and gold, their expression of joy and relief. "One down, 29 to go," Sam said with a tired smile. Over the next week, the hybrid systems were installed across the fleet. Each success built confidence between the species. The Valhari began to see the value in human practicality, while the humans gained insights into theoretical concepts that would advance their own technology by decades. The celebration after powering the last vessel was interrupted by an alarm from the human ship's long-range sensors. "Captain, we're detecting approaching vessels at the edge of the solar system," reported the Horizon's sensor officer. "They don't match any known human signatures." The Valhari representatives fell silent, their skin turning a deep purple that the translation system interpreted as fear. "It's them," Elkin said quietly. "The Dravak have found us." The holographic display showed 3 sleek, predatory-looking ships approaching rapidly. They were smaller than the Valhari vessels, but clearly designed for combat rather than transportation. "They're scouts," explained Elkin. "Where scouts travel, the war fleet follows." Captain Bennett looked at the newly repaired alien fleet, functional but far from battle-ready. Their work had just become much more urgent, and the stakes had risen dramatically. "How long do we have?" she asked. "At their current speed, less than 3 days," replied the sensor officer. "Then we need to be ready," Olivia said, her face set with determination. "It's time to show them what humans can do when protecting our friends." The approach of the Dravak scouts changed everything. Captain Olivia Bennett immediately sent an emergency transmission to Earth requesting military support. The Valhari gathered their leaders to explain the threat to the humans. The Dravak destroy our home system, Elkin explained, his skin darkening to deep indigo. They consume resources and move on, leaving nothing alive. We fled with everyone we could save. Holographic images showed the Dravak, reptilian beings with armored exoskeletons and advanced weaponry. Their society was built entirely around conquest, with no concept of diplomacy or mercy. "Why didn't you tell us this before?" Olivia asked. "We feared you would abandon us," Melith admitted. "Many species throughout the galaxy choose self-preservation when faced with the Dravak threat." Commander Eric Patel, still recovering from radiation exposure, studied the tactical displays showing the approaching scout ships. "We have 3 Earth military vessels arriving within 18 hours. But the Dravak will be here first. Then we prepare with what we have," Olivia decided. The humans' approach to defense surprised the Valhari. While the aliens had sophisticated energy weapons, they relied entirely on automated systems to deploy them. The idea of manual targeting and tactical improvisation was foreign to them. "You mean your warriors make decisions during battle?" asked Terrace, the Valhari engineer. "Not follow pre-programmed responses." "Adaptability is our greatest weapon," Eric explained. "No battle plan survives contact with the enemy." The humans immediately began setting traps using the abundant resources of the Kuiper Belt. Mining vessels from Earth's asteroid operations repositioned chunks of ice and rock to create navigational hazards. Engineers rigged remote-controlled explosive devices to key asteroids. The Dravak expect direct confrontation, Sam explained as he helped program the detonation sequences. They won't anticipate guerrilla tactics. Meanwhile, Maria Collins and Kate Wilson worked with the Valhari to reactivate dormant defense systems on their vessels. The aliens' weapons were powerful, but had been shut down to conserve energy during their long journey. "We can reroute power from the hybrid systems," Maria suggested. "It won't be enough for everything, but we can get the main cannons online." 2 days later, the Dravak scouts entered the outer edge of the trap zone. From the command center of the horizon, now integrated with Valhari systems, thanks to Kate's interface, humans and aliens watched together as the enemy approached. "They're scanning us," reported the sensor officer. "Standard approach pattern." "They don't seem concerned." "They'd never encountered humans before," Olivia said. "Let's show them why that was lucky for them until now." At her command, the first trap was triggered. A massive explosion tore through an asteroid directly in the path of the lead Dravak ship. The blast didn't destroy the vessel that damaged its sensors and forced it to change course, directly into the second trap zone. The Valhari watched in amazement as the humans implemented their strategy. Rather than meeting superior force with direct opposition, they used the environment itself as a weapon. "Your species fights unconventionally," observed Elkin, his skin patterns showing something between admiration and shock. When the Dravak scouts regrouped and accelerated toward the fleet, Olivia gave the order to activate the Valhari defense systems. Brilliant beams of energy lanced out from the refugee ships, guided by human tactical officers working with alien technology. The lead Dravak vessel took a direct hit and spun out of control. The other 2 immediately changed tactics, separating to attack from different angles. But the human trap hadn't been fully sprung yet. "Now," commanded Eric. Dozens of small, unmanned drones, hastily constructed from spare parts, launched from the human vessels. Too small to trigger the Dravak automatic targeting systems, they attached to the hulls of the enemy ships and began drilling. "Sometimes the simplest solution is the most effective," Sam commented as the drones penetrated the Dravak hulls. The Valhari were astonished. In their experience, battles were fought at a distance with energy weapons and shields. This direct physical approach seemed primitive, but was devastatingly effective. The Earth military vessels arrived shortly after the battle, bringing reinforcements and new supplies. Admiral Frank Rivera, commander of Earth's Space Defense Force, met with Captain Bennett aboard the Horizon to review the situation. "We've analyzed the Dravak technology from the debris," he informed her. "Advanced, but not unbeatable. And now we know their weaknesses." The Admiral turned to address the gathered Valhari leaders. "Your people need a home. Earth is prepared to offer sanctuary in our outer solar system, while your ships undergo complete restoration." The Valhari Council convened to discuss the offer. For a species that had been drifting through space for a generation, the prospect of settling, even temporarily, was both thrilling and frightening. Elkin spoke for the council when they returned. "We accept with gratitude. Our children have never known a stable orbit around a star." Over the next 6 months, the Valhari fleet moved to positions around Neptune and its moons. The exotic technology they brought with them transformed human understanding of physics and engineering. In return, humans taught them forgotten skills of adaptation and practical problem-solving. Maria Collins led the establishment of joint research facilities on Triton, Neptune's largest moon. There, human and Valhari scientists worked side by side to develop new technologies combining the best of both civilizations. "Their theoretical knowledge is advancing our physics by centuries," she explained during a briefing with Earth's scientific leadership. "But they're learning from us too, how to innovate, improvise, and overcome limitations." The medical exchange proved equally valuable. Valhari biological science offered cures for several human diseases, while human doctors helped the aliens address genetic weaknesses that had developed during their long isolation. Commander Eric Patel, fully recovered from his radiation exposure, now led a joint human-Valhari defense force. Based on intelligence provided by the refugees, they prepared for the possibility of a full Dravak invasion. The scouts were just the beginning. Eric told his mixed-species crew during training. "The Dravak don't abandon a target once they've found it. But this time, they'll face something they've never encountered before: humans and Valhari working together." Under Eric's direction, the Defense Force developed new tactics that combined human ingenuity with Valhari technology. Weapons systems that had once required mental interfaces were modified to accept human control inputs, creating versatility that neither species could achieve alone. 6 months after the defeat of the scout ships, long-range sensors detected a much larger Dravak fleet approaching the solar system. This time, Earth was ready. A joint fleet of human and Valhari vessels moved to intercept the invaders well beyond Pluto's orbit. The battle that followed would later be called the Defense of Sol, humanity's first major engagement alongside an alien ally. The Dravak, expecting to find only the weakened Valhari refugees, encountered instead a combined force using strategies they couldn't predict. Human captains executed daring maneuvers that Valhari commanders enhanced with their advanced technology. The Dravak fleet, accustomed to easy conquests, found themselves outmatched not by superior firepower, but by unpredictable tactics and unbreakable resolve. When it was over, the remaining Dravak ships retreated into deep space. For the first time in their recorded history, they had been decisively defeated. In the aftermath, the United Nations formally established the Sol Alliance, a mutual defense pact between humanity and the Valhari. As part of the agreement, permanent Valhari settlements were established throughout the outer solar system, with Neptune becoming the center of their new civilization. Kate Wilson, whose computer interface breakthrough had been crucial to saving the alien fleet, became Earth's first ambassador to the Valhari Council. In her acceptance speech, she reflected on the unlikely partnership. 6 months ago, we answered a distress call from strangers, she said. Today, we stand with friends. 2 species from different worlds, brought together by crisis, now united in purpose. The alliance quickly drew attention across the galaxy. Species that had long avoided contact with the aggressive Dravak now reached out to the surprising new partnership that had defeated them. 1 year to the day after the first Valhari signal reached Earth, a joint human-Valhari exploration vessel departed the solar system. Its mission: to establish contact with other civilizations and extend the alliance to those who shared their values of cooperation and mutual respect.